What's up, guys, and welcome to episode 44 of the Yard Podcast. I'm your host, Randy.
And I'm your host, Konu.
And pitchers and catchers have reported the team had their first full squad workout today, and the first spring training game is only 5 days away. So there's a ton of stuff coming out, plenty of reports, plenty of updates on players, what guys have thrown in the bullpen, so much stuff to get started. First thing we want to do, though, is finish up our MLB top 100 players. We had given you guys, I want to say it was 41 to 100. They finally released the last within the last week. So very quickly, we had Buehler coming in at 40, Kershaw coming in at 38, Seager at 24, Bellinger at number 10, and then Mookie Betts at number 2. I did have a question for you because we've been seeing a lot of arguments. Do you think there's a chance in the next year or two maybe Betts overtakes Trout at some point for that number 1 spot? Or do you think Trout's going to be number 1 as long as he plays?
I don't know. Betts could overtake Trout, but I feel like I don't know what to do with these lists because I think I brought up to you. I have no idea.
The lists are stupid. Yeah, it's
so yeah, I don't know. I mean, he has a shot, but I think if anyone has a really good shot, it's probably Juan Soto.
Yeah,
or
that's true.
Tatis Jr.
Yeah. No, I was just curious because I looked a little deeper when that list came out. Like, I've got no problem saying Trout's the best player in baseball. The dude is insane, what he's done, his numbers. But I took a little closer at the stats, and I don't want to say they're like very, very close, but I almost feel like they're closer than people want to give them credit for because Mookie's defense is so elite and Trout's is, I mean, that dude barely has any WAR his entire career from defense. Not very good. He's had negative WAR seasons multiple times. But he steals bases and his hitting makes up for it. So it's just an argument I see on Twitter.
His hitting is absolutely ridiculous. I don't think people understand how ridiculous Mike Trout is at hitting in baseball.
It's so like he puts up almost a 10 WAR every season just off hitting. Like that's insane. Bellinger in his MVP season put up like a 10 point something, and like 3 or 4 of those points alone, maybe 2 or 3 of them were from defense. So he's putting up because I think Mookie right now is 3 years behind him career wise, 3 seasons behind him. And Mookie right now would have to average 10 WAR a season for the next 3 years to have the same WAR as Trout 10 seasons through. And I don't think there's any chance in that happening because Mookie would have to play at like his 2018 level, like every single season. And that even alone is insane. So I don't know.
Like Mookie's good. Mookie's goddamn good, but trying to catch Trout, it's going to be impossible. But I think Soto can do it because I think Soto might be the best hitter in baseball.
Yeah.
That he's. I don't even know. Sometimes I just watch him. I don't even know what to say. It's truly amazing to watch him hit.
I will say I've never had MLB TV until this last year because being in LA, I didn't need it. I would just watch Sportsnet. Now I don't. Now, not being in LA, I have MLB TV, and I'm actually really looking forward to catching some national games when the Dodgers aren't playing because, what Juan Soto does on a field is insane. I don't want to.
My coach was like, if you want to see what real good hitting looks like, watch Juan Soto. So I started watching some. I mean, I've seen games, obviously, when they play the Dodgers, but I started watching a little more this past weekend. My goodness.
Yeah, he's insane. And I don't want to stick too long on this because we got a lot of other stuff. But speaking of Juan Soto, we will actually be seeing him very early on in the season. First things first, Dan Caston sent a video to fans on Friday saying that he hopes fans will be allowed at the stadium come opening day, which is April 9th against the Nationals. As we know, the Dodgers start on the road in Colorado. He did say it wouldn't be a full stadium, but that he hopes fans will still be allowed to attend. So as we hear more about that, we will keep you guys updated. The prices you see floating around on Twitter right now, $8,000 for a bleacher seat. That is just third market fans trying to hope a Dodger fan is desperate enough to buy the ticket. Don't spend your money on those tickets. Yeah, just don't spend your money, at least until the Dodgers say they're actually allowing fans, because you don't want to go through that whole refund process that we all had to deal with last year when all these games got postponed and canceled. So once we have more info on the tickets, we will let you guys know. Last week, we recorded our podcast And of course, minutes after we finished recording our podcast, we found out that Josh Sborz was in fact traded to the Texas Rangers. So he will not be coming back to the Dodgers like we thought he might be. He was DFA'd to make room for Bauer, but the Dodgers did trade him to the Rangers for pitcher John Zambrano. Did you have a chance to look at any of his stuff? Is he?
Well, it's honestly, it's hard to find.
Not 40
I'm going to be honest.
Right?
No.
Oh no, because he was DFA'd.
But a lot of things.
I was DFA'd.
It was hard to find about Zambrano. The things I found was that he's 19. He got signed out of that 2018 class from Venezuela. He signed for $300,000. He's only had that one minor league season in 2019 in low A ball. He pitched 60 innings. He struck out 52, but he walked 16. His ERA was 2.55, so he seems to have like some control issues, but I think he did a good job at limiting damage, especially as a 19-year-old. But again, not much else is known about him because there's just nothing there. I looked all over. So obviously it's just like a throwaway trade since Sborz was DFA'd, but maybe the Dodgers can strike gold because they tend to do that sometimes.
Yeah, that seems to be their thing. The development is fantastic in this organization. So we will see what happens. Good luck to Sborz in Texas. I always kind of feel bad for players when they get traded to a lowly team, especially like not even a good like a good organization. Like poor Dylan Floro got sent over to Miami Marlins after winning the World Series, and Josh Sborz on his way to.
Well, at least the Marlins had made
Rangers.
The playoffs last year. The Rangers weren't close.
Yeah, I'm not sure what you're doing in the AL West with the Rangers. So hopefully he at least gets to play. That is the thing about these trades is because he was a DFA guy, they have to put him on the 40-man roster, I believe it is. Or is it? Yeah. Either way, they have to. He'll get more playing time, more than he ever would have got in LA. So good luck to him. We got a little bit more information from Andrew Friedman about the luxury tax. We've been talking about it a little bit since the Turner and Bauer signing, how much the Dodgers have kind of catapulted over that. However, good news is we don't have to worry too much about it. The Dodgers and Andrew Friedman aren't worried about the luxury tax and may try and make trades. However, he did say he would not be surprised if they do not get under the 250 million threshold. They would like to, but he did say his primary focus is winning the World Series again, which is what every fan wants to hear. So I say, screw it, spend all the money, and who cares? We have a chance to win another World Series. We have basically close enough to the same team last year that there's no reason to think that this team couldn't win again. So I love hearing our front office, especially after a season where they had no fans. I'm glad that their focus is still winning and not, hey, we did it for our fans, now let's go chill so they can leave us alone.
Yeah, I think it certainly seems like they don't care about the money, but I don't tend to believe what players, managers, and the higher ups say, because I mean they all lie a lot. I believe they have until the end of the season to get under that, right? So I would expect them. So the way I took it is they're not rushing, but I believe they have every intention of getting under that 250, 40 over, especially so their pick doesn't drop 10 spots and they aren't taxed like 42.5%. So I think they'll try to get under that at least.
Yeah, I agree.
Like I wouldn't be surprised if sometime during spring training or sometime during the season that Joe Kelly's no longer on this team.
Yeah, I would not be surprised by any of that. I fully expect them to try and do something along those lines. I fully expect for them to get under it, but I'm glad that it's not like at the forefront of their mind that they're like, we have to do this and they have to trade someone away, where if they decide we like the team we have and the offers just aren't giving us what we want, that they're not just going to be, okay, let's trade it. They're willing to take that hit. So like we mentioned last week, when it comes to this team, drafting 10 spots back isn't a big deal. Hey, I just want to win again. So if they can go out and do that, would be great. Talking about games though, good news. Well, good news if you have Sportsnet LA, they will be broadcasting all of the Dodgers 29 spring training games this year and more than 150 regular season games. So if you got Sportsnet LA, great. If you don't, I'm sorry. We're still dealing with this BS where they black out markets. It's stupid. It shouldn't be like that. So hopefully you can find a way, watch those games for free, take all that. Who cares? If they're not going to give it to us, find them illegally and stream it. Who cares? Just
that's how you got to do it.
Yeah. Find a way to watch your game, tweet it out on Twitter. Someone will hit your DMs with a Reddit link and you'll be good to go. Find a way to watch the team. Don't let them get to you.
But try to keep it as hush as possible, because the more people, then they're likely to shut it down.
Yeah, we have seen some streams get shut down. The UFC is now threatening to go after people who stream the games. I don't think it's gonna end up that far in baseball, but like, just don't. I
watch that shit anyway, so
I did too, but I just like. Yeah, just don't be loud about it. Like if someone DMs you, just be like, dope, thanks, and keep it on the hush, because a lot of people, we need those links until MLB gets their shit together. I spoke about Turner up in the No, I didn't. I spoke about Turner in the luxury tax, but the re-signing became official when the Dodgers moved Caleb Ferguson to the 60-day IL. He had TJ surgery in 2020 and is not expected to return this year. So that is unfortunate there for Ferguson, but we got Justin Turner back, so good news there. Spring training games are expected to be 5 to 7 innings this year. To start, I should say. They won't be like that. I want to believe it's like March 13th, March 14th, something like that. They will start going to full length. They're playing 5 to 7 innings because they don't have as many minor leaguers there as they would in years past. So they would usually use minor leaguers to maybe clean up the 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th inning, let the guys get a rest until they kind of build up their strength. Not going to be happening that way. So early on, we will see 5 to inning games. I'm not upset about it. I hate watching the end of spring training games. However, I do feel bad for some of those players who might be on the cusp of either being promoted to a new level or maybe have the chance to make a big league game, who now may lose out and at bat a game.
That's the big thing, because I'm hoping it's at least 7 innings, so at least some minor leaguers that are actually there can get some work in. It makes sense because the major leaguers are out after pretty much 5, or they get 2 or 3 at bats, but since there's a 20 pitch maximum, that could also be affected by it. Or that could be a rule in effect, is a 20 pitch maximum. That could also affect how players get at bats. And it's imperative for, people like McKinstry and Beatty and Rios and Lux and other young guys to get as many at bats as possible, so we can see how, they develop and how things play out. So it's going to be interesting from that aspect if they can't get those 2 or 3 at bats as usual.
Yeah, that is the downside of it. Hopefully they are doing some inter-squad games along the way too, to kind of help keep those guys. I know a couple other teams are doing that for this exact reason. They will be doing inter-squad games. I didn't know this was a thing, but I've heard about it. Apparently, if it's a nationally televised, which I didn't even know they did nationally televised spring training games. Apparently, if it's nationally televised, they have to play all 9 innings because of contract reasons. So if they're on national TV,
some games are on ESPN, I think.
Yeah, see, I didn't know that. I've always watched it through Sportsnet or MLB TV. So
that's where we gotten the great mic'd up players.
Oh, that's where that come from. Oh, okay. So yeah, if it's a nationally or
that's where we got Mookie. I ain't got this one, boys.
Oh, that's right. If we have I love this. I wish they would do more mic'd up, especially during spring training. Like during a regular season those postseason mic'd up games, I hated that. That stressed me out so much. I wish they would do more mic'd up. I don't necessarily need them doing it during regular season, but screw it. Like during spring training, I say go all for it.
Spring training and all-star games are fun. You can do that. And
you know what I do want to see, speaking of this, is Trevor Bauer has his own vlog. Like, I doubt MLB would ever imagine or would ever allow it to happen, but could you imagine if he was like wearing a GoPro on the mound while he pitched? Like how cool that would be, or on his chest or something like that for his, like, I'm excited to see his YouTube content this year to see what behind the scenes stuff he gives us. But I kind of want like him to mic himself up, and I want to see all these guys mic'd up, because if we're getting fans back in the stadiums, we're not going to hear as much as we did last year. And I had a lot of fun with that audio, those hot mics last year. That was great. So I hope we get a lot more of that this year.
You mean Jock was great?
Oh, Jock is a show out there. It was like, oh, he said like every word in the book in a matter of like 10 seconds.
Yeah. So
Jock
funny.
is funny on the field. There's also that still picture of him back in like 2019 flipping off Dozier as he runs to first base because he was all pissed off that Dozier got him out, made a nice play. Jock's always doing stuff like that, and it's so funny to me. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that content. But back to our notes, 5 to 7 inning games to start midway through March. You can expect to start looking for 9 inning games. Unfortunately, this bums me out a lot because I feel like this is one of those players that is on the cusp of kind of figuring out his spot in the organization. But Kyber Ruiz has yet to show up to camp due to issues he's having with his visa. And when he does show up, he has to self-isolate. So he's losing healthy time right now to be out there and getting work in. And I think we all know with him, we're going to start figuring out in the next few months because he'll have AAA season if they're going to keep. I think we all know they're going to keep Smith, but what's going to happen with Ruiz? So I hope he gets a chance out there. I want to see him with the big league guys, not just catching in AAA. Let him get familiar with some of those guys just in case he does come up at some point. So as soon as we have some news on that, we will let you guys know.
I think it's more of him needing to be here because it's important for him to kind of rebuild his trade value. I don't see a way for him to be on this team just because Smith is going to be here. I don't think they're getting rid of Smith despite his lack of abilities with calling pitches and actually catching. So just because what Smith does with the bat, I think it's for them. It's what they're looking for. So this is going to be about him just rebuilding his trade value, and hopefully the Dodgers get something for Ruiz.
Yeah, because he did in 2019. I remember his season ended early because he broke his finger. Didn't get to play like the last month or so. 2020 came around. Unfortunately, no minor league season. He did get a game or two with the Dodgers at the big league level, but you're not going to
hit a home run his first at bat. But that was it.
Yeah, but unfortunately, that's not going to get the scouts talking much just off that alone. So I do hope he gets a chance out there. He's been one of our top prospects for a while. We've seen him drop a little bit in rankings. But speaking of Smith and Barnes really fast, I'm not sure, you might not have seen this. You said you hadn't seen what was going on, but Roberts made a comment that I actually really liked about Smith and Barnes. He said he does not view Barnes as a backup catcher. That he views Barnes as actually Barnes and Smith is 1A and 1B. So that to me still feels like we're sitting on the line a little bit of there's guys like Kershaw and Buehler who maybe aren't ready to pitch to Smith and are comfortable with Barnes. I will say I'm curious to see how that goes with Bauer being a new pitcher and Price both being Price is new because he didn't play the 2020 season, so Smith nor Barnes got to really know him. And Bauer, I'm curious to see if they have Barnes and Smith both try Price and Bauer, or if they give like one or the other, or how that's going to work. Because it matters. We've seen it. Barnes is fantastic behind the plate. There aren't many better defensive catchers than him. He does not get enough credit for what he does. Smith still has plenty to learn behind the plate, but the dude can rake. So you got to weigh.
This might be a little weird, and I doubt this will happen, but I wouldn't be mad if like Barnes caught Buehler, Price, and of course Kershaw and Buehler, and then once they're out of the game, take Barnes out of the game, and then insert Smith for his bat and go from there. I wouldn't be mad at that.
That's not the worst case scenario. It's just the unfortunate scenario that if something happens.
Yeah, then you lose a catcher. Yeah. That's the odd part. But I mean, there was a part a few years ago where Puig was going to be the insurance catcher. So I don't know, maybe Beatty can catch or something. Who knows?
Yeah, Beatty is the emergency catcher as far as
perfect.
Last year he was the emergency catcher. Oh yeah, okay, last year he was the emergency catcher.
Just spitting people out. So I mean, hey,
I could see it. He kind of looks like he has a build of a catcher a bit, so I could see him back there. I don't know if he played there in college. I just know he was the emergency backup catcher last year. But no, I'm on the same page there. It would be a little weird. I wouldn't necessarily mind it. I will say this is another one of those scenarios where the DH comes to bite the Dodgers in the ass, because it would be great to DH Smith and have Barnes behind the plate.
Absolutely.
So
that's what was working in the playoffs.
Yeah, that was it. It was fantastic in the playoffs because
I feel like that's when they really turned it around in the Brave series. When they started figuring things out.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens there. Some people still believe a DH will come back. Some believe it won't. I can't imagine this team I can't imagine this league and the players actually agree on anything, because Let's just say the Seattle Mariners, I think it was CEO came out, or president or whatever the hell he was, came out and said some really dumb shit over the last 24, 48 hours that I'm glad he did.
Was being honest. He was being honest.
We need someone to come out and say these dumb things so we can start getting these people out of baseball and fixing the issues with like service time manipulation. So I don't think the players union is very happy with the ownership group right now, because I'm sure a lot of owners feel that way and they just aren't public about it. So yeah, we'll see how any type of negotiations go, but there's already plenty of talks about striking in 2022. So I'm not getting my hopes up for anything at this point. I'm just going to look forward to this season, and as of now, no DH, and go from there. Back to, again, our spring training guys a little bit. We've heard of everyone throwing in the bullpen so far, bullpen session, except for Mitch White and Joe Kelly. Both of them are a little sore and haven't started throwing yet. As of February 20th, there was no update on this still. So as a Saturday, if you're listening to this, don't know what's going on. They have not mentioned anything. They haven't mentioned where the soreness came from, anything like that. So hopefully they kind of get it going a little sooner rather than later.
Yeah. But we also don't feel like they need to rush with those two, just because I don't think they're, no disrespect, I just don't think they're important to this team winning. Of course, every contribution helps, but I don't think they're big parts of this.
They're not, they're not people that have really are going to make an impact, especially early on, enough that it matters. Like, this isn't like a year or two ago when we were like, oh God, we have no Kershaw or Buehler starting the season because they're hurt or whatever. That was a little bit more stressful. The Dodgers absolutely can work around. So not worried about it too much. On the pitching side of things, Roberts was asked about using a 6-man rotation, and he said, I think that to think about that, wow, that was a very weird way to word that. Let's just say to think about that at the outset, probably unlikely, but it's not crazy, certainly given that we really don't know what to expect from playing 162 versus 60 games. It's nice to have those 8 viable starters, and at some point in time, I would expect all of those guys to make a number of starts for us at some point anyways. So kind of what we expected. We maybe thought they'd use a 6-man rotation, kind of would make sense coming off a 60-game season, but I also think they want to keep guys like Buehler, especially Buehler, Kershaw, and I think Bauer honest the normal rest, not trying to extend it. I think those guys they really want to make sure are ready to go. So I wouldn't be surprised if like randomly throughout the season we have 6-man rotation for like 1 week and then not for like another month, whatever the case. They've done that in years past when we had Stripling, like they'd add him in for a spot start and it'd make it a 6-man rotation for this one like 1 week and then we go back. I just think it's interesting because it really cuts back on what you do with guys like Dustin May and Tony Gonsolin. MLB put out an article today that I had sent you about the roster, and they don't even have Tony Gonsolin on the opening day roster. Like, he wasn't under starters and he wasn't under bullpen, which means he's starting in AAA. And looking at the names in the bullpen, I don't totally disagree. The only one in there that I could argue maybe to put Gonsolin in over would have been Scott Alexander, but Alexander's a lefty, so that's a different story. And then my other option is Kelly, but they can't do anything with Kelly. He's going to be on the big league team. So I don't really know what's going to happen with Gonsolin. And
I don't know, because I'm interested to see what happens with the rotation, just because I think Buehler, Kershaw, and Bauer have their spots locked, obviously. But I would like to see like a healthy competition for the last 2 spots between Urias, May, Price, and Gonsolin. I think that'll make it interesting. You sent me that thing about Tony G starting AAA, and while I can see that, I really want him to get a chance to compete for one of the last 2 spots. And if he loses out, I think he would be tremendous in the bullpen. I would take him over Alexander. We still have Victor Gonzalez, who I think will probably be better than Alexander anyway. I don't remember who else was in the bullpen, but I don't. As long as you can get both hitters out, I don't care. Vesia could also handle, as far as lefties go. Maybe Clevenger, however you say his name, helps as well. I would like to see Tony G in the bullpen, because I think he'd be great there. I mean, we've seen him do well there before. So I think it's something that he would excel at, and he could fit that Ross Stripling role pretty well. Now, obviously, if May also doesn't make the rotation, then May maybe gets the Stripling role. But I think Tony G deserves that role. So.
No, I agree. I agree with you. And same thing you said, outside of Kershaw, Buehler, and Bauer, I would like to see it be a competition. I really am not the biggest fan of committing to certain players at certain positions when there is viable competition. Obviously, no one is replacing Bauer, Buehler, or Kershaw, so there's no question there. I don't think anybody replaces Urias, but we don't know what we're getting from Price yet. So I would like to see them go out there and say, look, maybe you are our starter, but you have to earn that spot, because we have younger guys coming up ready to go. And Price is the same thing. He's going to be on the big league roster. So I think he wants to be a starter, so we can say that's the fourth. But either way, I agree with you. I want the competition. I want these guys to go out there and have to work. That's actually something Knebel touched on today. He says there's a lot of dudes here. He was saying that there's so much depth that it makes for really good competition, that he felt really good that the Dodgers wanted to trade for him. He said it was a big boost of confidence for him. So I think the competition is good inside the clubhouse. And I think for guys like Gavin Lux, this will be huge, because you're not worried about competing with Kike. You might be a little worried about Taylor, but Taylor can move around basically anyways. So I think it'll be good to have some of this competition going into the season. I don't want to say a handful of players, but most of the players have their spots locked up. But I think there are a couple questionable marks in the bullpen, and maybe even on the field. And I don't want to say questionable marks in the rotation. There's just so much talent in the rotation that I feel like we can't say this is the rotation right now, because anything could happen in spring training. So next part of this, we have heard a lot of interviews over the last week from coaches, mostly from Roberts, Friedman, and some players. So I pulled some of these quotes, kind of some stuff that's going on, or just little information points to go over very quickly. But Roberts told reporters there was some question about Turner coming back and where Rios would play. And Rios will be getting some time at third base this season to help get Turner off of his feet. Turner is not expected to play any first base. I don't know why that was said. I don't know if a reporter asked Roberts if he would be playing first base. So I don't know why that was brought up, but Turner won't be playing first base if you thought that might be an option. When it comes to Buehler, Roberts feels great about him, says that he looks better this year than he has in years past at spring training, and said he looked very sharp in his first bullpen session on Friday. We mentioned this last week on the podcast that Buehler actually continued throwing throughout the offseason this year, which is not something he usually does. Short game season, he wanted to keep the work going. So I'm actually really excited for him this year.
He's going for those Cy Young kickers.
Yeah, he's ready to go, and as long as he stays healthy, I don't see this being an issue for him. Then again, he's never thrown a short 60-game season and then continued to throw and then gone and played a 162-game season. So, and then hopefully very deep into October. I'm not too worried about it. I think Buehler is one of those special talents that will be able to figure it out. I think with him, the biggest thing will be his blisters, which he actually discussed in his media session, and he hasn't had to deal with any of them since throwing last season. So that's great news, because that means he's been doing his bullpen sessions even back home and wasn't having any problems of it. He said it's just a wait and see kind of thing, but that he's not super concerned. Another thing he also touched on, which I kind of feel like a lot of the fan base can relate to a little bit. We've heard some of the other players relate to this, but it came about the Dodgers winning the World Series. And because the season was so short and there was no parade, that he felt like they kind of only won half of the thing versus winning the whole thing. I feel like there's a little bit of that in the fan base. Some of the players feel that way. It's not that the World Series itself doesn't count as much. It's the fact that, like, we didn't get all the good stuff afterwards. There was no parade. We didn't get to celebrate. The players didn't get to have that moment of, like, the fan base just being like, oh my God, you guys are, like, having fans, tens of thousands of fans at a parade, like, cheering them on. They don't even get to enjoy that. So a couple other guys have used that actually as motivation to go into this year. So I'm super excited for that. They want to keep winning. We always worry about stuff like the World Series hangover. I'm not a basketball fan, but I follow a bunch of Laker fans because Dodger fans and Laker fans are the thing and are in the same. And I gotta say, it sounds like the Lakers, I don't know what's going on there, but I hope we don't have whatever hangover it sounds like they're having, because I can hear a bunch of their fans complaining on Twitter all the time. So I'm glad our guys are ready to go, because that World Series hangover can be real sometimes, and I don't want any of that.
We saw with the Dodgers in 2018. I mean, they got back to the World Series, but to start the 2018 season, they were pretty brutal.
Yeah. So I feel like maybe this is different. It wasn't a full-blown 162 game season. Basketball, they actually had to play way more games. They had to stop and then start up again. So their bodies were probably taking way more of a beating. But as for the Dodgers, I'm right there with them. I want that parade. I want to see them celebrate the whole thing. And I just want a packed stadium come October in LA, not in Texas, unless we're playing a Texas team. But if we're not, I want to be in LA or at the actual stadium of the team we're facing. So we'll have to see what's going on there. Price, good news from him. He is looking forward to pitch for the Dodgers this season, and said sitting out in 2020 was the toughest decision of his career. He said there were times where he thought about coming back, but that his arm just wasn't built up enough. He also pointed out how much relief it was for him when Urias got the final out of the World Series. He didn't want to have to sit around and think, could I have been the deciding factor? Could I have helped? So he commented on how great he feels and said he is further along this spring training than he's ever been in his career. Roberts actually seems to think this year off for him could be huge. So I think both of us have been pretty excited for Price since he was traded, especially when we saw what he did in his second spring training start last year.
I mean, his first one he had some command issues, but it wasn't bad. He was still getting hitters out. But against the Rockies, he was really just striking them out, mowing them down. Definitely looked a lot better. And I can't imagine how he would feel if the Dodgers had lost, because maybe he could have helped, because we saw what he did in 2018 when he finally got the monkey off his back.
Yeah.
He had struggled out postseason before the 2018 postseason, and that postseason he really pitched well, starting and coming out of the bullpen. So I think he definitely could have helped, and I can't imagine how he would feel knowing that he might have been the deciding factor, or could have been a big deciding factor.
Yeah, I agree. So I'm sure that was a huge relief for him. He already has his one World Series ring, which I'm sure every player wants more than one, but I'm sure for him it was more like, I'm glad they got this done. Like, I know that's why Betts was traded for, and he probably knows he was brought over here to try and help along the way with that too. So it's cool to know that that's all that mattered to him, that he was just happy for the team that won. It wasn't like a whole poor me, I wish I was there so I could have got that, been a part of that. He was just happy for the team. Some good news is depending on how you feel, people like myself worried about some clubhouse, all of the clubhouse going on with Trevor Bauer. Some players came out and basically told people like myself to shut up, said that they're actually very happy with Bauer in the clubhouse, and that they think he's going to mesh well with the team, and they believe he will be a great fit. Buehler pretty much says all he needs to go out there and perform, and that's all they really care about, which at the end of the day, I don't think that surprises any of us. So, hey, as long as things are going good in that clubhouse, that's all we can really ask for, right?
That's what's good. That's exactly what it's going to be. I always felt like he's going to be fine in the clubhouse. His only issue is fans aren't going to like him. But honestly, I don't think he cares. I really don't. If he did, he'd stop doing what he's doing. He doesn't care.
Yeah, you don't have to like the guy. You can love the guy. I'm not the biggest fan of him, but hey, if the Dodgers can stand beside him and he goes out there and win games, then so be it. I will say this: if you don't want him on the team, you're gonna want to cheer for him to do well, because there's no way he's opting out of $40 million next year if he has a bad season. So really, if you want him to opt out, you might want to cheer for him to do well, because he's going to be here for 2 years unless something crazy happens. So I just thought it was great.
I'm not the biggest fan of him, his personality, or I guess his off-field personality.
That's the way to put it. That's the right way to put it.
On-field personality, I like his on-field personality. His off-field personality, I'm not a fan of. Yeah. But again, we're not all going to agree on different things. As long as he helps the team win, I don't care. Cool.
Yeah. It's at the end of the day.
If he doesn't, then he's here 2 years and then he's gone.
Yeah, pretty much. So either way, it's not a long time thing. I just will say I am very glad to hear a couple players come out, especially someone like Kershaw, come out and say these things, because I think it does matter. I think Buehler and May's opinions are important, but at the end of the day, guys like Kershaw and Betts were at the top of the list.
Kershaw, Betts, and Turner. If they say positive things, then I'm good here.
Yeah, so the fact that Kershaw came out and said that he's feeling good about it and he doesn't see any issues made me feel good. Like maybe Trevor Bauer's just a dick and he's okay with that. And at the end of the day, we just kind of have to accept it because there's nothing we can do.
He is okay with that.
Yeah, he doesn't seem to care. So if that's
if that's the way he wants to
go, if that's the way he wants to go, I mean, hey,
it is.
Look, just don't talk shit to other players, and then please do not get lit up by the Mets in August. Like that's all I'm asking for, because we're gonna have
coming.
We're gonna have to be the ones who get, like, the fan base is gonna be the one who just gets harassed nonstop for it. So please,
he's gonna go
that's
5
all
innings,
I'm asking.
give up 5 runs.
And then it's just never going to be the end of it on Twitter.
Nope, it's just going to be what it is. And then
Marcus Stroman and Noah Syndergaard.
And it's just one game. I don't care.
No, it won't
I know
matter.
it's not. I know for him personally, it might be like, oh shit, but for me, I mean, whatever.
I'm not. If we're stressed out about one win at the end of August, I think we got some bigger things that we have to worry about than Trevor Bauer having a bad outing. So on to our last kind of, this wasn't a media thing. This was actually on Courtney Turner's podcast. So her and Justin do a podcast together, and I actually really liked this episode. They went super in depth about spring training. Like, it's crazy, all of the different protocols that are happening, all of the different things. Like, players now have an app every morning that they have to wake up and put their symptoms into. They've got trackers that if they come in within 6 feet of someone else, it starts beeping like crazy. So they really broke down all of this, what they do with the food now. But something that stuck out to me was about what Turner said, how he's switching his workout routine this offseason, because something you and I were concerned about with him coming back was not his talent level, but whether or not he was going to stay healthy enough to be on the field for 140-ish games a season, whatever it may be. Well, Turner made a point this offseason to relax on the weightlifting and to go very full force into yoga and focus on his flexibility, because he said for him, his main thing this season is staying healthy and making sure that he can move well and is on the field as much as possible.
Isn't that what AJ Pollock did last year? And he had a pretty healthy year?
AJ Pollock started getting.
I mean, it was only 60 games, but still.
Yeah, and he stayed healthy. So I'm very happy to hear this. He said he cut back a ton on weightlifting and is focusing on his flexibility. He's been doing yoga, all of that kind of stuff. So that could be great for him. That's what we need. I'm not concerned about his.
That's been my only issue is you being on the field. That's it.
Yeah. So he took notice to that in the podcast, said it was his main priority this season is figuring out how to stay healthy, stay on the field, which I'm glad to hear. Dude got a pretty decent contract for 36 AAV wise, decent money. So I'm glad he's coming out here. He's not just mailing it in. He's coming out here to really give it his all, and I respect it.
So, quick question. I haven't really been on social media that much, but since the pitchers and catchers have been there, has there been any talk about who looks the best so far or who's looked really good?
Yes, there has been. I actually have it saved right here. Barnes was very, very big on David Price, Corey Knebel, and Walker Buehler. Those are the ones that stood out to Austin Barnes the most so far.
One of those names is music to my ears.
I'm so excited for Knebel. I cannot get over because I know that's who you were talking about. I can't I don't think I've ever been so excited for like a relief pitcher. Like, what is this? Some random ass guy. Like, probably going to be a 7th or 8th inning guy, maybe 9 innings if we don't commit to a closer, which we'll get to in a second, because unfortunately it sounds like we are. But I'm super excited for Knebel. I think he's going to be fantastic, and I think he's kind of
Robert said anything about who looks good? I do remember seeing that somebody, I don't know if it was Roberts, but somebody said that Julio looks the best he's been in.
That was Roberts. So
okay.
The thing is, though, is the best shape of my life is always a running joke at freaking spring training. It is,
but Julio always comes in a little,
Julio in pictures does look like he's slimmed down. So I will give him that. They posted pictures of him walking into camp, and he does look slimmed down. That was a conversation back in 2019. It was something I kind of noticed a little bit. He had looked like he put on weight. 2020 looked a little better. So hopefully he continued that this year. Speaking of Julio Urias, Oh man, his dad probably got the sweetest tattoo I've ever seen in my life. His dad got the World Series trophy, and then in the middle of the World Series trophy is Urias yelling and celebrating after they won.
That's dope.
It's so badass. Dope. It takes up his whole arm. It's sweet. But damn, talk about like dad goals. Your kid pitching the final out and getting that tattooed on you. Like that's wild. That's so cool. But yeah, no, those are the ones that Barnes was looking good about. And I feel good hearing that from Barnes. Barnes knows knows not really, I guess he doesn't really know Price or Knable, knows Buehler, but he knows our pitching staff, knows what the team wants to see, what the coaches want to see. So
have the hitters started yet?
No, they have
I saw them coming in.
They've been taking BP, but the first full squad workout is today.
Okay.
So yeah, they've been taking BP, but I think like live BP and all that stuff can start today.
Okay. Because I know some of my friends were like, you should go watch their live BP video. And I was like, why? It's just batting practice. What am I missing?
Yeah, no, it's, I haven't seen anything yet in that regards. But they were just like, just listen to the pop off of bats. And I was like, ooh, that does sound nice though. So the Dodgers have been, you need to get back on social media because the Dodgers have been posting some I
hate social media so much.
Pop in the gloves and some great BP videos. They've been posting just like some ASMR basically for baseball fans these last couple days. I think
I'll get back on, but I'm just going to mute everything except for the Dodgers.
Well, yeah, that's really all you need to keep up with. So just mute everything and everyone but the people and just don't read the comments. As long as you don't read the comments, it's a little safer. It's a little safer on there. But something I wanted to briefly discuss before we get out of here, before we get on to the MLB news, was we have committed to Kenley Jansen as our opening day starter, according to Roberts. I am not a fan of that.
Opening day closer.
Yeah, what did I say?
You said starter.
Oh shit!
For clarification, he is not going to be.
That would be even worse. God, he expects him to be our opening day closer, and I get it. They probably aren't going to tell Jansen, especially in the last year of his contract, where I hope he comes in with a fire under his ass because it's the last year of his contract. But I don't like that they are committing to Jansen this early when he lost his spot in the playoffs. When you basically lost your closer role, I'm just not a fan of already giving it back to him. I'm very much on the page of those last 3 outs should be whatever the best matchup is where Jansen is right now until someone else is ready to take over. Like if Knable came in, Treinen, or when Gratterall's time is, that's fine if we want to commit to closer. But I don't know how I feel about, Gratterall still has time. He needs to miss more bats. But as for Jansen, I don't like the commitment this early on. I just feel like it asks for more BS down the line. If they have a short leash and they pull him, is he going to kind of do his whole thing he did last year where he started throwing teammates under the bus? I will say Joe Davis posted a little side note where I didn't know this, but Kenley Jansen actually induced like the lowest hard rate percentage like last season.
The top pitcher in a hard hit percentage.
Okay, that's what it is. There's the proper
But was he still giving up runs though?
Yeah, a little bit.
He was.
Yeah.
The problem
it gave up a lot more contact, be honest, but not a lot of it was hard. The unfortunate part is that it was a lot of key contact in a way.
I'm gonna be honest.
Unlucky, but I mean, once he faced the Astros and we had like a 7-run lead and he almost blew it, I was completely over.
Oh my God. See, I was just about to tell you, I literally have blanked everything about Jansen out of my mind from 2020. And now you just brought that up and I'm so mad. I'm so mad that they, I completely forgot about that. We would have swept every game. We would have season swept the Astros, I think, had that game. I think that was the only one we lost. Like we would have season swept them, and God, to give up that many runs, that was awful. Like, either way, I don't like the commitment this early on. I don't know your thoughts on it.
Honestly, I didn't take too much from it. For me, it's wording. He said it's his expectation. I mean, we all expect things, doesn't mean it's going to happen. Now, will this happen? Probably, and that's fine as long as he's not the closer come playoff time. Then I'm fine. So like Roberts has his expectation that Jansen's going to be the opening day closer. I have my expectation that Knable's going to be the closer by the summer. I feel like it's coming. And the fact that you said that, was it Barnes or Roberts had said Knable looked great?
Yeah, Barnes.
Only solidifies to me that Knable's going to be the closer some point this season. So if he's the opening day closer, I'm cool with it. If he's the closer come playoff time, then I'm going to have an issue. So should he have to earn it? Coming off his last 3 years, yes, he should. Because I think a healthy competition would work, but especially with like Knable trying in, I can't throw Gretel on there yet. I like him, but he doesn't miss enough bats. But with Knable and Trinan and Jansen having like those three compete for the closer role, I think it would be good. But if they just want to give it to Jansen, fine. He's not going to keep it. I can almost guarantee that.
I agree with the expectation thing. It could just be Roberts. I think what a lot of people tend to miss with Roberts is he's the manager. A lot of his job is to make sure his players are feeling good and that he instills confidence in them. So if Roberts, I get it, because at the same time, if
Jansen needs confidence in himself.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, very much.
And he needs to stop having people boost his ego. Like if you're not comfortable with yourself and you don't believe in yourself, then anybody else telling you things not really going to matter.
It seems very mental with him, because the fact that he can sometimes hit 93 and 94 and then other games like he's barely touching 92, like it's just so weird to me. I don't think his arm has like gone out on him. I know we dealt with COVID last year, so I'm hoping this year is different. Like I said, I hope with him being on his last year of the contract, he does different. I also want Trevor Bauer to pass some of his sticky stuff, because if he can figure out his cutter with Trevor Bauer's shit, nobody's gonna be hitting that thing. So I mean, hey, Trevor Bauer did take over being his partner and has apparently been his throwing partner and has apparently been challenging Jansen.
Right?
Yeah,
that's amazing.
They're throwing partners, and he said he's actually been challenging Jansen and making him like, I don't know if he's like making him throw or trying to like amp him up, but I guess hey,
it's mostly probably stop being a bitch and let's do this.
Yeah, if it's coming from Bauer, it's probably like, bro, get the fuck over it. You gave up some runs. Facts. Get back out there and then walk off the mound like you own that shit.
Everybody gives up runs, man. It's okay. You'll be all right.
Yeah, he always seems like it hits him a little bit more than it does everyone else. And I have a feeling a lot of that probably stemmed from 2017. He probably took a lot of blame for that World Series, but at the end of the day, yeah, I did too.
I know a lot of people blame Kershaw. I blamed him. I
blamed him. Yeah, him and Kershaw were my top two. I am willing to forgive them for two. I don't care about. But for me,
I couldn't blame Kershaw just because he was great in Game 1 and Game 7. Yes, Game 5 was bad, but 1 and 7, he did his goddamn thing. So I can't really be mad at that. Jansen was bad all series, so you know.
I mean, so was Darvish.
Yeah, that's true. Darvish was bad.
And also, this is really random side. I was rewatching like highlights, and Darvish was missing a lot of pitches against the Diamondbacks in his start there. So
really, and he was fantastic too.
He was hanging a lot of sliders that were supposed to be down the way. Guys were just missing them.
The Diamondbacks just suck. That's what happened.
We all should have seen it coming.
Yeah, Chase Utley, I think, told him he was tipping pitches too. So,
I guess tipping pitches, getting signs stolen. So yeah.
Yeah, what a wreck.
Yeah, Jesus.
Poor guy. Yeah, so I know.
Sorry.
He was working with the team and then damn Corona hit. Like he was out there helping out players and like development stuff, I think, and then Corona hit, so he couldn't be around the team anymore. So I know he was like
back on that.
Yeah, he was out at like Sportsnet LA doing stuff on the broadcast. He was spending time around players. Like, I think he's the perfect type of role model for baseball. Like, if you want a guy that's going to just teach you to go out there and work your ass off, like, it's going to be Chase Utley. Play the game hard.
Hey Chase, you wanna work with somebody?
We have a second baseman.
Yes. Second baseman. He's also a lefty too, man. Hold on, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Chase, I need you
time in there. I'm hoping Mookie is
help my boy out.
I'm hoping Mookie is spending plenty of time with him. I think Mookie would be great for Lux.
I really want Mookie and Turner to just sit with him and just break some things down. I'm assuming whatever video was posted, it looked good for him because, I mean, my friends wouldn't tell me otherwise to go look at it. So I'm assuming Lux is in there somewhere doing something.
Hey, he posted a picture of himself at spring training. The comments are on, so I'm happy for him.
Comments are on.
Let's hope it means people will stop being assholes and give him a chance to play some damn games. Like, he's not even played a full season yet worth of games.
I'm not going to say it out loud, but I'll tell you privately what's going to happen.
All right. Sounds good. I like him. I like him having a good season this year. I could see it. I think 2020 might have been like a kind of a waking up point. Like, hey, bro, maybe don't be so hard on yourself. Like all the weight, you're no longer like the centerpiece here. Like nobody's focused on Gavin Lux, the top prospect coming up. Like
I will say, my friend did say that he saw Lux and Lux looks slimmer.
Good, because he looked weird last year when he showed up to camp. He looked like and I do feel bad saying that because he might have had COVID, and if he did, then I
feel like he didn't look right. Weird because he always looks top heavy to me.
He's top heavy as hell. He's like Johnny Bravo, but not as dramatic. But with the hair too,
top
almost.
Heavy. Yes, he's so top heavy, and then his bottom half is like
I love Johnny Bravo growing up. No, yeah. But it's funny though, because if you see his like thigh, like the dude has thighs. Like I've seen him swing like when he's in his BP shorts, like the dude has thighs, but it's like his calves just don't seem to equal. Like he's so top heavy, it's like there's no way to equal it out. But yeah.
Also, Johnny Bravo was great.
Johnny Bravo was fantastic. I loved watching that growing up. So shout out to Gavin Lux. Go have a Johnny Bravo year. All the women will love you like Johnny Bravo too.
Call him Johnny Bravo all year
I think so. Until he,
Okay.
everybody loved Johnny Bravo. Yeah. The women love Johnny Bravo. Like he was a star everywhere he went. So why not? We'll just start calling him Johnny Bravo. I'm all for feeding his ego if it's gonna make him do better. So I don't care. I want him out there. I'm excited for him. I have so much like faith that he's not some bust that just came up like that. I just don't think that happens like that. So I can't wait. I hope he's on the opening day roster.
It's been some unfortunate circumstances, but I think he's going to be all right.
Yeah, I hope he's our opening day second baseman. We'll have to wait and see what happens, but
if they're facing a righty, I 100% think he'll be the opening
day.
They're
facing the Rockies, so I don't know who their number one is. Like John Gray?
John Gray.
He's a righty, right? I think so.
Or is it
Herman Marquez?
Herman Marquez. Right-hander as well, though. So
I don't think they really have any.
Is Freeland still there? Or did he get?
No, traded? I think he's there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Basically, at this point, just whoever it is the Rockies are going to be god awful. So it probably doesn't even matter, to be honest. I would throw him out there because it's Colorado. I'd be like, bro, now is the time to boost your confidence. We got 4 games here. Use the Coors effect and just like pop off. Like that's at that point, like just throw him in and let him go for it. Because if he pops off in Colorado, his ego's going to be like, he's going to be so happy. So
after Colorado, they go to Oakland, right?
I think so, which is not ideal, but
if Oakland is allowing fans in, I'm going.
Oh yeah, because you're up there. Yeah, you should.
Yep.
So yeah, so on to our MLB news. Not too much. Well, actually, there were some decent signings in the last week.
There was one big one.
Yeah, one big giant extension over the last week, which I'm actually very excited about. I think it's great for baseball. Fernando Tatis signed a 14-year extension with the Padres. I think it was like $340 million. He's played like 152 games in his career. He hasn't even played a full season. But the guy is an electric factory. He's so much fun to watch. He brings fans to the stadium. He's an elite talent. You can see he does it all. And I have always said, if he's never going to end up in Dodger blue, I hope he spends his whole career in San Diego, because I absolutely love watching him play. And I think he brings a really fun aspect to what I feel like is a growing rivalry with the Padres. I know a lot of people don't want to call him a rivalry just yet. That's fine. And I would never put them on the rivalry scale of the Giants, but in my mind, they are going to become an NL West division rival the way things are going, if they continue to build up and actually be successful with the team they have. So it's a hell of an extension.
Yeah.
But it's if you're a Padres fan, you've got to be feeling so good right now with what your team did. Like he wasn't even going to hit arbitration, and they already locked him up. Like the Padres are the perfect example of teams being full of shit when they say a small market can't spend. Like the Padres are not a big market team. I don't care if it's San Diego. They are not considered a big market team in baseball.
Yeah, they're like 27th, right?
They're not high at all. And they're out here spending an insane amount of money. Their left side of the
Hosmer,
Tatis
Jr.
Their left side of the infield is worth $600 million. Just the left side of the infield between Tatis and Machado. And I think it's great. I think this is so good for baseball. I'm excited as a Dodger fan. I cannot wait for these series. It's going to be so much fun. And I just hope the Padres continue to build on it. Not like in years past where they tried to build these teams and they all failed and fell apart.
But can we, before I start talking, can we just talk about how lucky they got getting Tatis Jr. and how stupid the White Sox were for trading him for James Shields?
Yeah. However, there is always the argument, which when people, I'm right there with you. People always want to defend the White Sox and say Fernando Tatis Jr. was a nothing when they traded. It was like basically a gamble for the Padres. Like they didn't know what they were getting. But could you imagine? However, at the end of the day, I guess like if you're the White Sox, you should be pretty happy too with the way your guys are turning out. But could you? I don't know where you would put him. Maybe at third base, Tim Anderson at short, but then don't they have Moncada at third base? The White, like I'm trying to think where. I mean, you make room for a guy.
Maybe
like
they don't trade for Moncada if they still have Tatis up there.
Yeah, that's true. So could you imagine though, like being the White Sox and having Fernando Tatis, Tim Anderson, Eloy Jimenez, Luis Robert, like one of the best catchers in baseball under Grandal. Like man,
Lucas
that team,
Giolito.
Yeah, Dylan Cease. Like they're gonna be.
Didn't the White Sox have 9 players at the top 100 like the Dodgers did?
Yeah, they had 9 just like the Dodgers.
Okay, so what I need for my entertainment purposes, Dodgers White Sox World Series.
That'd be a hell of a World Series. That'd be young talent. Yeah, I love talent. I love Tim Anderson.
So I think that'd be great.
I want to win. I want to like be up 3-0 in the World Series, and then I want Tim Anderson to just crush a home run off a pitcher I don't really care about, and just fucking throw his bat at the dugout like he did against the Royals. Like that's all I want to see. But I want to be like up far enough that it matters, where it's like, oh, okay, whatever, have your home run and let me enjoy it. But like we're still gonna win the World Series. That was the biggest disappointment for me when 2020 got screwed up. The Dodgers were supposed to be going to Chicago to play the White Sox, and they did not get to. So that bummed me out a lot. Yeah. So,
but as far as Tatis Jr. goes, I know I saw a lot of people have questions because it's been 140 games.
Yeah, something like that. 140, 150.
So it's a small sample size, but I mean, let's make no mistake, he's been really fucking good over these last 2 seasons. I know his offense took a little bit of a dip, but his defense really picked up. I don't think he's going to suddenly be bad. I think he's very well going to be worth the money plus more. So, and again, like you mentioned, he's super fun to watch. I think this is a good deal for both. I did see that he owes some firm like $30 million though.
So he signed with some firm. I forget the name of it. It's like BLA or something like that. Basically what they do is they take top touted prospects that are expected to be very good, and they loan them a certain amount of money. And that player, when they want to make a loan on that money, has to owe a percentage of their future contract back. If they do not make it to the big leagues and do not sign a big future contract, that they don't ever have to pay back that money. So last I have heard, they don't know his percentage, but it could be, I think, as high as I want to say 10%. So at the most, he could be owing this agency $30 million on top of the 5% he has to already owe his agent. Yeah. So yeah, hey, the reason he took that money was because he wanted to get a better apartment, eat better, and update and have better workout regimen in San Diego, as well as he went home to the Dominican Republic. So I respect it.
It worked.
It's a hell of a gamble on yourself, and I respect it because, like you said, he's only been around for 140, 150 games, but the type of talent that he shows, that doesn't just disappear. His hard hit percentage, exit velocity, and barrel percentage were all in the 100th percentile in 2020. That doesn't just go away. That's insane. Like his expected slugging was 97. His outs above average was 99. His sprint speed was 98th percentile. Like that doesn't go away. He's not just all of a sudden going to suck. And I feel like
he's got it all.
Yeah. He's a true five tool player, and I'm excited to watch him play the Dodgers because I think this stuff's good for baseball. I think it's good that we're signing young talent like this.
When we talk about the face of the league,
that's it right there.
I think he fits perfectly. Yeah, I mean, of course, there's always Trout, but Trout's kind of boring.
Yeah, Trout's
amazing, but he's a little boring. He doesn't say anything.
I don't think he wants to be the face, which is fine. That's totally great. But I think Fernando Tatis wants to be, and he's embraced it. The dude is fantastic on social media, knows how to always entertain. He's on the MLB The Show. He knows how to go to a game, and you're always having fun. So I'm all for it. I'm
getting the Jackie Robinson edition, but yeah.
Well, yeah, you should. Yeah, no. Yeah, but a couple other signings over the last week very quickly. Brett Anderson signed with the Brewers for 1 year, $2.5 million. He's a lefty, but I'm looking forward to teeing off on him, to be honest. Not always wasn't ever the biggest fan of him. Aaron Sanchez signs a 1 year deal worth $4 million with the Giants. Mitch Moreland signed a 1 year deal with the A's worth $2.25 million. Trevor Rosenthal got himself a nice 1 year, $11 million deal with the A's.
The A's confused me. I'm just gonna keep it real because I think Moreland and Rosenthal are very useful. So I'm not understanding why you're doing that and then trading away.
Like letting Semien walk and trading away. Yeah. That's what other people said too. They're like, you just paid $11 million for a relief pitcher and you couldn't find a way to keep Semien? Like, really? I don't know.
Because even before Ozuna signed with the Braves, there was talk about the Rays being involved. And I was like, how do you trade Blake Snell and let Charlie Morton walk and then go give Ozuna all that money? That makes no sense to me. So the A's and Rays are really just weird.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I don't get what they're doing. I don't like teams like that. Teams like that suck. Like if you have a winning team and you have a chance to win, like your rebuild should never take more than 2-3 years. I feel like at max, because these teams are talented. They just don't want to play.
Here's the thing: the rebuild never gets that far. They trade away all their players, but then they're still happen to make the playoffs because their developing is good.
And I almost feel like that's on purpose, to be honest. Like the ownership knows, like, hey, we can keep the fans interested enough as long as we get to the playoffs, which is a joke. It should so not be dumb, that way.
But at the same time, A's, if you really want to do this, I will gladly take Matt Chapman off your hands.
Yeah.
Name your price and we're good to go.
Yeah, we'll have a DH next year, so we'll find a way to work him in there with Turner and until we get our DH. So yeah. I don't know what's going on with the A's. They're a weird team. Taijuan Walker signed with the Mets on a 2 year, $20 million deal. He had a really good year last year. I think he was only finished under Trevor Bauer in ERA plus in the 2020 season. So I guess they're kind of hoping to get that.
Is that good? Jesus.
Yeah, I think that's what I saw. Is he was like the only second. He was like right under Trevor Bauer in 2020. So for ERA plus, that is. But yeah, I think the Mets could be interesting for them. It's one of those scenarios that like Syndergaard has to come back and do well. Taijuan Walker's going to have to show up. Like it's not one of those things that like they're just a set. Like his ERA plus last year total was 161. That's insane.
He was with the Mariners, right, last year?
He was actually with the Mariners and Toronto. He was traded.
Oh, okay.
So he made 5 starts in Seattle where he put up where's the ERA? Oh, wow. So he put up a 4 ERA in Seattle and then went to Toronto, which is weird because they're in the same division. No, they're not. Sorry. Toronto's in AL East. Never mind. Went to the AL East and got a 1.37 ERA in 6 starts. So 26 innings. So when he went over to the AL East, and the AL East is definitely a much better hitting division, I feel like, than the AL West is. So
because even though the Red Sox aren't good, their offense is still pretty good.
And the Rays are not the Rays, sorry. The Jays are stepping. I mean, he was on the Jays, but now he's not. Jays stepping up. He faced the Yankees, the Red Sox. So he signed there. Brett Gardner returned to the Yankees on a 1 year deal for $4 million. Jake Lamb signed with the Braves for a 1 year, $1 million contract. And then old friend Brian Dozier announced his retirement. He played 47 games for the Dodgers in 2018 after he was traded at the trade deadline for Logan Forsythe, Devin Smeltzer, and Luke Raley, who is ironically enough back with the Dodgers. Raley came back in that trade for Gratterall in 2020. But Dozier went on to win the World Series with the Nationals in 2019, played 1 more year in 2020, and has decided to call it a career. So good for him. Went on and got that World Series ring with the Nats the following year after making it with us in 2018 and falling short to the Red Sox.
Off really fast.
Yeah, he did. He went from like being the guy every Dodger fan wanted in like 2015 or 16, and then just like
I 100% wanted him.
Yeah, like I remember like everyone was pushing for him and he was good. I remember looking at his numbers and then I don't know what happened in like 17, 18 or whatever.
Fell off. Yeah.
So congrats to him on retirement though. It's weird seeing guys that like not that he was like a big name. Like obviously a lot of the guys we grew up with are retired, like have already retired, but it's weird to see guys that like are just starting to retire. So like Scott Kazmir hasn't even retired yet. That dude just signed a minor league deal with the Giants.
He just signed a
minor
deal with the Giants.
That dude is still playing.
That and I was like, wait, the Scott Kazmir? I thought he retired a long time ago.
I thought he's been done for like years. But I mean, I don't think he's been playing like anywhere. But hey, good old.
He's been sitting 92, 93.
Yeah.
What? I actually saw him in Rancho randomly at a Quakes game. I think 2 years ago, 19 or 18, and like I was like, that like kick looks familiar in the bullpen. I'm like, oh my god, Kazmir, and he threw like scoreless innings. So I don't know, he can still pitch.
Wait, he hasn't pitched in a big league game since the Dodgers in 2016.
Yeah, I don't think he ever played for the Braves.
What? He's 37. This is great. Well, hey, good for him.
Wait, he's 37, hitting 93 still?
Yeah, he's 37.
Apparently.
Hitting 92, 93 on the gun.
Man,
and
that's more than Kershaw. Hold up here.
Farhan Zaidi said, hey, let's run it back real quick. Come hit us up. Come to San Francisco. Oh shit! I mean, hey, baseball's
the
wild.
Giants are doing a little things, but I think Farhan's got them in the right direction. I will say that.
Yeah, Farhan helped the Dodgers along with Friedman get in the right direction. Friedman didn't need him much longer, but yeah, no, he's heading in the good way. And again, I think it's good. I think more competition in the NL West, the better. I am not worried about any of these teams. The only team that gives me some real question is the Padres, but I'm not worried they actually are going to overtake us for the division. I just think it'll be good baseball. So we shall see what happens. But that was all I had this week. Did you have anything else?
Just one last thing. I know because everybody, even our own fans don't really like Trevor Bauer. That's fine. I get it. So they're going to take the Mets side on this, but nah, fuck that. I'd never liked the Mets like that, especially after Chase Utley. So the Mets can suck my dick. And I'm rocking with Trevor Bauer on this one. I don't care. Let's do this.
Oh, I don't. I thought it was funny to watch, and I thought he took an L in the argument. But like at the end of the day, I'm always about the name.
I didn't see the argument. What was the argument?
It was Noah Syndergaard posted a picture of him laughing at training camp. One of the pictures, and he like made a joke about Bauer, like saying, oh, when someone comes to your or when he said, I'm sorry I chose another team, but I'll donate to your charities, like laughing at Bauer for Bauer doing that. And Bauer was like, Bauer said, when mistakes are made, you try to make them right. I know you wouldn't know anything about making mistakes, though. Hope rehab is treating you well. Was good to see you back throwing. And then Noah Syndergaard like pulled up some other stuff, and then Trevor Bauer pulled up old Instagram like screenshots that was of Noah Syndergaard calling his fans like a bitch and saying like, your wife likes me with a shirt off and stuff like that. And so it was just like stupid it was funny. It was stupid back and forth. And then Noah Syndergaard said, keep digging. And Trevor Bauer just went like, and then what did he say? He said, see you at the bottom. And then Syndergaard said, you bring a drone in your mixtape and it's a deal. And then Bauer,
that was it.
Yeah. And then Bauer said, he said, you've got yourself a date. And then that was,
Okay. So it seems like maybe Trevor Bauer can't take a joke, but then I also feel like he might've been joking as well. So I don't think that was too bad. It wasn't. I thought it was pretty even until he said, see you.
The drone and the mixtape.
That I was like, okay, that would hurt a little bit.
Yeah. So, when you go out on the World Series mound because your drone finger is like busting blood, that's not something that you want to really have to think about. So no, that type of stuff, I'm all for it. I think that's great. I'm like, it's fun for the sport. These guys are competitive. They're athletes. They're alpha males. Like, let them go out there and talk their shit. It is going to be so much fun in August because hopefully Corona is basically over by then. God, I hope to have friggin' Shea Stadium, or is that what it's called now? I don't know. City Field. City Field. Whoa. Total throwback there. City Field. I don't even know why that came to my mind.
The Polo Grounds, right?
Yeah.
The Polo Grounds.
The Giants, right? Or was that? I don't know. Fuck. The City Field.
Those Giants.
To hopefully be packed with a ton of fans for Syndergaard, Stroman on the mound, and then the same thing when they come back to LA when Bauer's on the mound. Hopefully it's just packed with Dodger fans. Mets are going to be decent. It should be fun. So I expect a lot from Bauer this year, and I expect a ton of pitchers to also and other players to take shots at him if he does stuff on the mound or if they hit a big home run off of him, because that's the type of stuff he asked for. Last year, he called Tim Anderson soft for not bat flipping off him when Tim Anderson hit a bomb off of him. So he definitely asks for this kind of stuff. So it should be, that side of things should be kind of fun.
I'm actually surprised Tim Anderson didn't do that.
I know.
Hitting a bomb off of Trevor Bauer.
I know. Yeah, that to me, I thought was a little interesting, but I'm all for Trevor Bauer calling him soft because he didn't do it. Like, I think it's great that players do this stuff. And Amir Garrett said the same thing. Amir Garrett came out the other day and said, go ahead and bat flip off me. He just said, don't get mad when I come screaming off the mound and I strike you out. And I'm all good with that too. Like, it's so good for the game. And it's what
Amir Garrett also will fight a whole team by himself. So, you know.
Yeah, Amir Garrett doesn't care. Hey, I respect it too.
I respect that too.
Any guy that's gonna go out there and fight a whole team for their teammate.
He ran at the whole bitch, and after that, I was like, I really want the Dodgers to trade for him.
Yeah, could you imagine a team full of him, Buehler, Kelly, and Bauer, like those four, like just out there, like just. Oh man, that'd be.
Or even him on the bench with him, Muncy, and Barnes.
Yeah,
he charged the bench. And then Puig came in 15 minutes after he was traded for Bauer.
That's right. That's right. That's right. Oh, that's right. I remember that.
As trade rumors were going around.
That's funny.
Good stuff. But that's it for us. I think we might have actually already gone over an hour.
Long way over.
Yeah. So it was good conversation, good stuff. Hopefully you guys listened to the whole way through. If you haven't already, please make sure to leave us a rating or review, whatever you want to call it. Make sure you guys follow the podcast. You can keep up with all of our stuff at Dodger Yard, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. I'm trying to think what else. Basically everything. TikTok, all that good stuff. Yeah. So follow us on there. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Randy_Radcliffe.
You can go to allmylinks.com/Konu, KONU, and you can find all my social media on there.
And you guys have heard a little bit more from our producer today. That is Ray. If you want to give out your social media too, because you might be hearing from you a little bit more on this podcast.
Yeah, I'm at Stingray417 on Twitter and Insta, but that's private. So dude,
don't follow that.
You can follow me, but just don't be intimidated by the fact that it's private. Yeah, at Stingray417 on Twitter. Tweet about a lot of baseball, sports, and the occasional politics and Bigfoot, whatever.
Yeah, all the good stuff. But as always, we appreciate you guys tuning in, listening, and following along. So we hope you have a good rest of your morning, night, afternoon, weekend, whenever it is you listen to this. And next episode, we come to you guys, we'll be talking about a Dodger baseball game, spring training or not. We will at least have live baseball on our TVs to talk about. So I'm excited, and we will catch you guys next week. Bye, guys.
See you later, guys.